My best friend told me my husband was cheating on me. I didn't believe her until she showed me proof. I was about to end my marriage when I learned she made it up to get with him herself. I'm looking at the photo on my phone for the 10th time in 5 minutes, and my hands won't stop shaking. It's my husband coming out of the Marriott downtown at 2:47 p.m. last Tuesday, his arm around a woman I don't recognize. Her face is turned away, but her blonde hair catches the sunlight in a way that makes my stomach drop. Are you okay? Brianna asks, sliding into the coffee shop booth across from me. She's the one who sent me the photo 20 minutes ago with a text that just said we need to talk. I can't look up from my screen. When did you take this? I didn't take it. She pulls out an envelope and sets it between us like it's radioactive. Someone sent these to me anonymously. They said you deserve to know. The envelope is thick, too thick. I stare at it like it might explode if I touch it. How many photos are there? 12 plus receipts. The word receipts hits me like a physical blow. This isn't just some random snapshot that could be explained away. This is documentation, evidence. A paper trail that means my husband of 6 years has been living a double life right under my nose. I open the envelope with trembling fingers. The first photo shows him entering the same hotel 3 weeks ago. Different clothes, same confident stride. The second shows him leaving 2 hours later, alone this time, checking his phone. The third is from last month, him having dinner at Romano's, the Italian place where we had our first date, sitting across from the same blonde woman. This can't be real. The words come out as a whisper. Brianna reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. I'm so sorry, Mel. I debated whether to show you these for days. I flip through more photos. Him opening her car door. Him kissing her cheek in a parking garage. Him buying flowers at the grocery store. Flowers I never received. Each image feels like a knife twisting deeper. Then I see the receipts. Hotel bills spanning the last 4 months. Always the same room type, king suite. Always paid for with a credit card I don't recognize. But the signature at the bottom is definitely his. The dates line up perfectly with nights he said he was working late or hanging out with his college buddy. Who sent these to you? I ask, though part of me doesn't want to know the answer. I honestly don't know. They came to my apartment in an unmarked envelope yesterday. No return address, no note except a piece of paper that said she deserves the truth. I study her face, looking for any sign that she's lying. But Brianna has been my best friend since sophomore year of high school. She's the one who helped me pick out my wedding dress. She's the one who talked me through every relationship crisis I've ever had. If anyone would have my back in this nightmare, it would be her. Maybe it's someone from his work, she suggests. Someone who's seen them together and felt guilty staying quiet? That makes sense. Adam works at a marketing firm downtown. Lots of young professionals, lots of opportunities for office affairs. I've met some of his coworkers at company parties, and a few of them seemed like decent people who might actually care about doing the right thing. I flip to the last photo and my heart stops completely. It's from 2 days ago, Tuesday night, when he told me he was having drinks with his college roommate. But here he is, walking into a restaurant with her, his hand on the small of her back in a gesture so intimate it makes me nauseous. I need to confront him, I say, shoving the photos back into the envelope. Wait, Brianna grabs my wrist. You need to think about this strategically. If you go in there emotional and accusatory, he'll just deny everything or turn it around on you. You need to be smart. She's right, but every cell in my body is screaming for immediate action. I want to drive home right now and throw these photos in his face. I want to watch him try to explain his way out of this mountain of evidence. What do you think I should do? Document everything first. Make copies of all this stuff. Take photos of the photos with your phone in case he tries to destroy them. Then decide if you want to hire a private investigator or just confront him directly. The practical advice helps calm the storm in my head slightly. Brianna has always been the logical one between us. The one who thinks 3 steps ahead while I'm still reacting to step 1. Should I call a lawyer? Probably. Especially if you're thinking about divorce. These photos could be really important for asset division depending on what your prenup says. We didn't sign a prenup. We were too young and too in love and too naive to think we'd ever need one. The house is in both our names, the cars, the savings accounts. Everything is tangled together in a way that's going to make this incredibly messy. I can't believe this is my life right now, I say, staring at the envelope like it contains my death sentence. I know, but you're strong enough to get through this, and you're not alone. I look up at her, this woman who's been my closest friend for over a decade, and feel a wave of gratitude mixed with devastating sadness. She dropped everything to meet me here. She's the one person I can trust to help me navigate this disaster. How long do you think this has been going on? I ask. Based on the oldest receipt, at least 4 months, but it could be longer. 4 months, a third of the year. All those nights he came home late. All those weekend trips he took for work. All those times he seemed distracted or distant. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. The kind of thing that happens to every couple after the honeymoon phase wears off. I was so stupid. What if he's in love with her? The question comes out broken, barely audible. Brianna's expression softens. Then you deserve someone who's in love with you. That's when the tears finally come. Not the angry, betrayed tears I expected, but something deeper and more crushing. Grief for the marriage I thought I had. Grief for the future I thought we were building together. Grief for the version of myself that woke up this morning still believing her husband was faithful. I don't know how to do this, I admit. 1 step at a time. First, we make copies of everything. Then you go home and act normal while you figure out your next move. Don't give him any reason to suspect you know until you're ready. The idea of sitting across from him at dinner tonight, pretending everything is fine while these images burn in my memory, makes me want to throw up. But she's right. I need to be strategic, not emotional. Can you come over tonight? I don't think I can face him alone. Of course. I'll bring wine and we can go through everything again, make sure we didn't miss any details. I slide the envelope into my purse and stand up on unsteady legs. Outside the coffee shop window, people are walking by living their normal lives, completely unaware that mine just imploded. I envy them more than they could possibly know. Walking to my car, I can't stop thinking about how Brianna and I ended up here. We met during sophomore year orientation at State, 2 scared kids from small towns who got randomly assigned as roommates. She was studying psychology while I was drowning in pre-med courses I'd eventually abandoned for graphic design. When I started dating Adam junior year, she was the first person I called to analyze every text message and dissect every date. He's different, I remember telling her after Adam and I had been together for 3 months. We were sprawled across her bed eating leftover pizza and painting our nails. Like, he actually listens when I talk about my family drama instead of just waiting for his turn to speak. Brianna had smiled, but something in her expression seemed forced. first. That's great, Mel. You deserve someone who pays attention. Looking back now, I wonder if that was the first crack. At the time, I thought she was just being protective the way best friends are supposed to be. She'd been burned by a string of terrible boyfriends and had sworn off dating entirely by senior year. I'm focusing on grad school applications, she'd said whenever I tried to set her up with Adam's friends. Relationships are just distractions right now. But she never seemed distracted when Adam was around. In fact, she lit up in a way I'd never seen before. She'd laugh harder at his jokes, argue more passionately about movies and books, stay up later when he hung out in our apartment. I thought it was sweet that my boyfriend and best friend got along so well. After graduation, Brianna moved back home for a year to save money before starting her master's program in clinical psychology. Adam and I got an apartment together across town from the university, and suddenly we were playing house like real adults. He landed his first marketing job, I freelanced while building my portfolio, and everything felt perfectly on track. Brianna visited constantly that first year. She'd drive 2 hours every other weekend, crash on our couch, and the three of us would fall back into our old college routine of late-night conversations and terrible reality TV marathons. Adam never complained about having a permanent house guest. If anything, he seemed to enjoy the dynamic. Your friend is really smart, he'd tell me after she left. Like scary smart. She picks up on things most people miss. I was proud of how well they got along. Some of my other friends had boyfriends who barely tolerated their female friendships, but Adam actively encouraged mine. He'd even suggest inviting Brianna to group dinners or weekend trips. When he proposed 2 years later, Brianna was the first person I called. She screamed so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear, then immediately started planning my bachelorette party and engagement celebration. She threw herself into wedding planning with an intensity that surprised me. This has to be perfect, she kept saying. You only get one shot at the perfect wedding. She helped me try on dozens of dresses, taste-tested catering options, and spent hours researching vendors. When I got overwhelmed by all the decisions, she'd take over completely, making spreadsheets and timeline charts that would have impressed a professional coordinator. Are you sure you're not secretly in love with wedding planning? I joked one day when I found her reorganizing my entire wedding binder. I just want everything to be amazing for you, she said, not looking up from her color-coded seating chart. You deserve the best day ever. The wedding was perfect, largely thanks to her obsessive attention to detail. She gave the most beautiful maid of honor speech about friendship and finding your person, and how love transforms you into the best version of yourself. There wasn't a dry eye in the room, including Adam's. After the honeymoon, life settled into a comfortable rhythm. Adam and I bought the house, adopted a dog, started talking about kids. Brianna finished her master's degree and got a job at a private practice downtown, only 15 minutes from our place. Sunday dinners became a tradition, with her bringing wine and dessert while I cooked and Adam grilled. Those dinners were my favorite part of the week. The three of us would sit around our kitchen table for hours, talking about everything and nothing. Brianna would update us on her patients, without breaking confidentiality, obviously. Adam would complain about his boss, and I'd share whatever creative project was consuming my life that month. You guys are like the family I chose, Brianna said one night last spring, slightly tipsy from the bottle of wine we had. I don't know what I'd do without you. Adam had smiled and raised his glass. To chosen family. Looking back, I'm wondering how many of those perfect moments were actually perfect. Was I so busy feeling grateful for the harmony that I missed the undercurrents? Did I not notice the way Brianna's eyes lingered on Adam when she thought I wasn't looking? Did I ignore the fact that she never dated anyone seriously after college, despite being beautiful and brilliant and funny? There were little things that seemed normal at the time, but feel weird now. Like how she always remembered Adam's favorite foods and would bring them to dinner. How she'd text him directly instead of going through me when she wanted to make plans. How she seemed to know his work schedule better than I did sometimes. Adam mentioned you guys had that big presentation today, she'd say when I'd call her after work. How did it go? I'd be confused because I didn't even know about any presentation, but I'd brush it off. They were friends. Friends talked. It was healthy that my husband and best friend had their own relationship, but now I'm wondering if their relationship was more than friendship. Not necessarily romantic, but something deeper and more complicated than I understood. Maybe she's been in love with him for years, and I've been too trusting and naive to see it. My phone buzzes with a text from Adam. Working late again tonight? Don't wait up for dinner. The casual cruelty of that message, coming right after everything I've learned today, hits me like a slap. He's probably with her right now, making plans for their next hotel room rendezvous while I sit here drowning in evidence of their affair. I screenshot the text and add it to a new folder on my phone labeled Evidence. Brianna is right. I need to document everything if I'm going to survive this with my dignity and finances intact. But first I need to go home and pretend everything is normal for one more night. The next morning, Brianna calls before I'm even out of bed. How did last night go? Was he suspicious? I don't think so, but this is harder than I thought it would be. That's normal. Listen, I've been thinking about our strategy. I think we need to move faster. What do you mean? The longer you wait to confront him, the more chances he has to cover his tracks or gaslight you into doubting what you've seen. Men like Adam are masters at manipulation. The certainty in her voice should be comforting, but something about it makes me uneasy. How does she know so much about what men like Adam do? But you said yesterday I should wait until I'm emotionally ready. That was before I realized how calculating he is. Did you see the way he watched you last night? He's studying your reactions, looking for weaknesses. You need to strike before he figures out what you know. I think back to dinner, trying to remember if Adam seemed particularly observant. He asked normal questions, made normal conversation. If he was studying me, I missed it completely. I'm not ready for a confrontation yet. I need more time to process. Mel, you don't have time. Every day you wait gives him more opportunities to manipulate the situation. Trust me on this. The pressure in her voice makes my chest tight. Yesterday she was telling me to be careful and strategic. Today she's pushing me to move immediately. Can we meet for coffee this afternoon? I need to talk through this in person. Actually, I think you should confront him today, while you're still angry and before you lose your nerve. Brianna, I said I'm not ready. Fine. Her tone shifts, becoming cooler. But don't say I didn't warn you when he starts turning this around on you. After we hang up, I sit in bed feeling confused. My best friend is supposed to be supporting me through this crisis, not pressuring me into actions I'm not comfortable with. I spend the morning trying to work, but my phone buzzes constantly with texts from Brianna. Have you thought more about what I said? The longer you wait, the harder this gets. You're stronger than you think. You can do this today. The constant messages feel overwhelming rather than supportive. I turn my phone to silent and try to focus on work, but my hands are shaking. Around noon, Brianna shows up at my door uninvited. You're not answering my texts. I'm trying to work. Mel, we need to talk. She's already walking past me into the living room. Something about her energy feels different today, more intense, more urgent. I've been doing research on infidelity patterns, she says, settling onto my couch without being invited. Men like Adam follow predictable scripts. Right now, he's in the honeymoon phase where he's being extra attentive to throw you off the scent. He brought me flowers yesterday. Exactly. Classic guilt behavior. He's love bombing you to keep you from getting suspicious. The term love bombing sounds clinical and ominous. Where are you getting all this information? Psychology journals, case studies. Mel, I've seen this pattern dozens of times. The longer you wait to confront him, the deeper he'll pull you into his web of lies. But yesterday you said, yesterday I was being overly cautious. After thinking about it more, I realized that approach protects him, not you. The flip in her position makes my head spin. Yesterday she was coaching me to be strategic and careful. Today she's pushing for immediate action with an urgency that feels almost frantic. I need more time to think. You don't have time. Brianna stands up abruptly and starts pacing. Do you know what happens to women who wait too long? They get manipulated into believing it's their fault. They get gaslit into thinking they're imagining things. I'm not losing my power by taking a few days to process. Yes, you are. Every moment you pretend everything is normal, you're giving him ammunition to use against you later. The pressure in her voice is making me anxious. This doesn't feel like support anymore. It feels like coercion. Brianna, I appreciate everything you've done, but I need to handle this at my own pace. Your pace? She stops pacing and stares at me. Mel, I'm the one who brought you this evidence. I'm the one who's been supporting you through this crisis. I think I've earned the right to give you advice. The way she says earned the right sends a chill down my spine. Since when does friendship work on a debt system? Of course you can give me advice, but pushing me to do something I'm not ready for isn't helpful. Not helpful? Her voice rises. I've spent days holding your hand through this emotional breakdown. I've canceled my own plans to be here for you. And now you're telling me I'm not being helpful? The outburst is so unexpected that I take a step backward. In 15 years of friendship, I've never seen Brianna lose control like this. I didn't mean, you know what? Maybe you deserve what's happening to you. Maybe you're too weak to handle the truth about your marriage. The words hit like a slap. My best friend just told me I deserve to be cheated on. I think you should leave. Fine, but don't call me crying when Adam convinces you that you're imagining everything. She grabs her purse and storms toward the door, then turns back with an expression I've never seen before. You have no idea how lucky you are, Mel. Some of us would do anything to have what you're throwing away. The door slams behind her, leaving me standing in my living room, trying to process what just happened. My best friend just had a complete meltdown because I won't confront my cheating husband on her timeline. Something about that reaction feels deeply wrong. The ominous tone makes my skin crawl. What exactly is she implying will happen if I take space from her? That night, I lie awake thinking about everything that's happened. The photos, Brianna's pressure to act immediately, her emotional outburst when I refused, her strange possessiveness over my decisions. Something feels fundamentally wrong. Around 3 a.m., I get up and retrieve the manila envelope from my hiding place. I spread the photos across the kitchen table and study them under the bright overhead light. That's when I noticed something I missed before. In one of the photos, the timestamp shows 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, but Adam was in a client meeting that afternoon. I know because I called his office, and his assistant said he was unavailable until after 4. I grab my laptop and check our shared calendar. Sure enough, he had a meeting with the Morrison account from 2 hour to 4 hour p.m. that day. The timestamp has to be wrong. I look at another photo. This one shows him leaving the hotel at 11:30 a.m. on a Thursday, but that Thursday was when we went to couples therapy together. Our appointment was at 11 a.m. and we grabbed lunch afterward. I was with him that entire morning. My hands start shaking as I check more photos against our calendar, our text history, my own memories. Photo after photo shows Adam in places he couldn't have been, at times when I know exactly where he was. Every single timestamp is wrong, which means either the photos are fake or someone has been very carefully constructing evidence of an affair that never happened. The house feels like a crime scene. Every surface holds memories that now feel contaminated. The couch where we watched Netflix last weekend, the kitchen table where he kissed me goodbye this morning, the wedding photos lining the hallway, all those smiling faces that belonged to people who believed in something that apparently never existed. Our dog Buster greets me at the door with his usual enthusiasm, completely oblivious to the fact that his world is about to implode too. I scratch behind his ears and wonder if dogs can sense when their humans are falling apart. I'm sitting on the living room floor with the manila envelope spread around me when Brianna arrives at 7 with a bottle of wine and Thai takeout. She takes one look at my face and immediately drops to the floor beside me. How are you holding up? I keep finding new details that make it worse. I point to one of the photos. Look at his hand placement. This isn't some casual business dinner or innocent friendship. This is intimate. She studies the image and nods grimly. Have you thought about how you want to handle tonight when he gets home? I honestly don't know if I can look at him without breaking down completely. Brianna opens the wine and pours us both generous glasses. Maybe you should stay at my place tonight. Give yourself some time to process before you have to face him. The suggestion is tempting, but something inside me rebels against it. No, this is my house too. I'm not going to be the one who runs away. Okay, but promise me you won't confront him tonight. Not when you're this emotional and he has time to prepare his defense. She's right. But every fiber of my being wants to scream the truth at him the second he walks through the door. I want to watch his face when he realizes I know everything. I want to see him try to explain away months of lies and deception. What if he can tell something's wrong? What if I give it away without meaning to? Then we practice. Brianna sets down her wine and looks at me seriously. We're going to role-play this conversation until you can handle it without falling apart. For the next hour, she pretends to be Adam coming home from work while I practice acting normal. It's harder than I expected. Every casual question feels loaded with hidden meaning. How was your day? Becomes an opportunity to ask about his mysterious coworker relationships. What did you do at work? Becomes a trap to catch him in lies about his afternoon activities. Are you hungry? Becomes a minefield because I keep thinking about all the dinners he's shared with someone else. You're overthinking it, Brianna says after my 5th failed attempt at casual conversation. Just stick to basic responses. Yes, no, fine, tired. Don't give him anything to analyze. We're running through scenarios when my phone buzzes with another text from Adam. Actually heading home now. Crisis at work got resolved faster than expected. My blood turns to ice. He's coming home early. I'm not ready for this. Yes, you are. Brianna grabs my shoulders and looks directly into my eyes. You are stronger than you think. You can do this. 20 minutes later, I hear his key in the front door. Buster goes crazy with excitement, the way he always does, and the normalcy of it makes my chest tight. Brianna squeezes my hand once before Adam walks into the living room. Hey babe. Hi Brianna. He leans down to kiss my forehead, the same casual gesture he's done thousands of times, and I have to fight not to flinch away. Thai food? My favorite. The easy smile, the comfortable familiarity, the way he settles onto the couch like he belongs there. It all feels like an elaborate performance now. How is he so calm? How is he not nervous about getting caught? Work crisis resolved, I ask, proud that my voice sounds mostly normal. Yeah, it turns out Peterson was just being paranoid about the client presentation. We got it sorted pretty quickly. He opens a container of pad thai and starts eating like he doesn't have a care in the world. I study his face for any sign of guilt or nervousness, but he looks exactly the same as always. Maybe even more relaxed than usual. Either he's an incredible actor, or he genuinely doesn't feel bad about what he's doing. How was your day? He asks between bites. Fine. Just worked on some designs for the restaurant client. Cool. The Italian place or the coffee shop? The casual interest in my work feels like mockery now. He's asking about my day while planning his next secret rendezvous. He's pretending to care about my projects while spending our money on hotel rooms with another woman. Brianna jumps in with a story about one of her patients, and I'm grateful for the distraction. She's always been good at filling awkward silences, but tonight it feels more strategic than social. She's protecting me, giving me space to breathe while keeping the conversation flowing. Adam laughs at her jokes and asks follow-up questions, the same way he always does. If I didn't know what I know, this would feel like any other Tuesday night dinner with my two favorite people. The normalcy of it is almost worse than if he were acting suspicious. After dinner, Adam settles in to watch TV while Brianna helps me clean up in the kitchen. She keeps her voice low when she speaks. You did great. He has no idea. It doesn't feel great. It feels like I'm living in a parallel universe where everything looks the same but nothing is real. That's because you're seeing clearly for the first time. The fake normal was what you were living in before. Her words hit harder than they should. Was our entire marriage built on fake normal? How long has he been lying to me? How long have I been living in denial about problems I was too naive to see? Mel, you're overthinking again. I can see it on your face. I just keep wondering what else I've missed. If he can hide an entire relationship for months, what else has he been lying about? Brianna rinses a plate and doesn't meet my eyes. Cheaters are really good at compartmentalizing. They can separate their secret life from their real life in ways that seem impossible to normal people. But how do you fake love someone for years while betraying them behind their back? Maybe he's not faking loving you. Maybe he loves you both. The suggestion makes me want to throw up. That's not how love works. It's how selfish people think love works. From the living room, Adam calls out, babe, come watch this show with me. It's that crime documentary you like. The irony is too much. He wants me to watch a show about people deceiving each other while he's actively deceiving me. I look at Brianna, and she nods encouragingly. Go, act normal. I'll finish cleaning up and then head home. I join Adam on the couch, and he immediately pulls me against his side the way he's done since we first started dating. His arm around my shoulders feels heavy and wrong, but I force myself not to pull away. On the TV, investigators are piecing together evidence of a husband who's been living a double life for years. People are so messed up, Adam says, shaking his head at the screen. How do you lie to someone you supposedly love for that long? The casual hypocrisy of his statement makes me dizzy. Is he really that oblivious to his own behavior, or is this some kind of twisted game? I don't know, I manage to say. Maybe they convince themselves they're protecting the other person. That's just selfish rationalization. If you're going to cheat, at least be honest about what you're doing. I stare at his profile in the flickering light from the TV. He looks so sincere, so genuinely disgusted by the behavior he's describing. Either he's completely delusional about his own actions, or he's a sociopath who can lie without any internal conflict. Brianna appears in the doorway with her purse and keys. I'm heading out. Thanks for dinner. Adam waves from the couch. Drive safe. See you Sunday? Actually, I might be busy this weekend. I'll text you. Something in her tone makes me look up sharply, but she's already moving toward the front door. I follow her, leaving Adam absorbed in his documentary about deception and betrayal. Are you okay? I whisper at the front door. I'm fine, just tired. This whole situation is exhausting. Thank you for everything today. I don't know how I would have handled this alone. She hugs me tightly. You're going to get through this. Just remember what we practiced. After she leaves, I return to the couch and try to focus on the TV show, but my mind keeps racing. Every casual gesture from Adam feels calculated. Every normal interaction feels like evidence of how easily he can lie. The man sitting next to me is a stranger wearing my husband's face. I'm going to get ready for bed, I say during a commercial break. I'll be up in a few minutes. Just want to finish this episode. In the bathroom, I stare at myself in the mirror and barely recognize the woman looking back. This morning, I was a happily married woman with a best friend I trusted completely. Tonight, I'm someone who has to pretend not to know her husband is cheating while her best friend coaches her through the performance. I brush my teeth and wash my face, going through the motions of my normal routine while my world crumbles around me. When Adam comes to bed 20 minutes later, I pretend to be asleep. He slides under the covers and settles against his pillow with a contented sigh. Within minutes, his breathing evens out into the deep rhythm of peaceful sleep. Meanwhile, I lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how someone can sleep so soundly while living such an elaborate lie. The next morning feels like an endurance test. Adam goes through his usual routine: shower, coffee, toast, kiss goodbye, while I play the role of unsuspecting wife. He seems completely normal, maybe even slightly more affectionate than usual. Love you, he says at the front door. The same words he said every morning for 6 years. Love you too, I respond automatically, and the lie tastes bitter on my tongue. After he leaves, I call in sick to work and spend the day making copies of all the evidence. I scan every photo and receipt, save everything to multiple cloud accounts, and email backup copies to myself from different addresses. Brianna was right about documenting everything, but the process feels like preparing for war. My phone rings around noon. It's Brianna. How are you doing today? Barely holding it together. I keep thinking about him sleeping so peacefully last night, like he doesn't have a care in the world. Some people sleep just fine when they don't feel guilty. Her choice of words chills me. You think he doesn't feel guilty? I think he can lie without breaking a sweat. That isn't normal. The clinical way she says it reminds me that she's trained in psychology, that she understands personality disorders in ways I don't. If she thinks Adam might be genuinely pathological, this situation is even worse than I realized. What do I do with that information? You protect yourself. You assume the worst case scenario and plan accordingly. Her advice makes sense, but it also terrifies me. If Adam is truly capable of manipulating me without any guilt or remorse, what else might he be capable of? I need to hire a private investigator, I say suddenly. The photos are great, but I need more. I need to understand the full scope of what he's been doing. That's probably smart. Do you want me to help you find someone? Would you? Of course. We're going to figure this out together. The rest of the afternoon passes in a blur of research and phone calls. By evening, I've hired a private investigator and opened my own checking account at a different bank. I'm preparing for war, and I'm finally starting to feel like I might have a chance of winning. I don't sleep for the rest of the night. Instead, I sit at my kitchen table with the photos spread out like a detective working a case, cross-referencing every timestamp with our shared calendar, my work schedule, Adam's work emails that he forwards me. The pattern becomes undeniable. Every single photo was taken at a time when I can prove Adam was somewhere else. The photo of him entering the hotel on March 15th at 3:22 p.m. That was the day he drove me to my dentist appointment because my car was in the shop. We were together from 2:30 until after 5 thou. The romantic dinner photo from April 8th at 7:45 p.m. We were at his company's annual dinner that night. I have dozens of photos on my phone of us at the event, time-stamped throughout the evening. By dawn, I've documented every discrepancy. Not a single photo aligns with reality. Either every timestamp is wrong or these photos are completely fabricated. But who would go to this much trouble to fake evidence of Adam's affair? And why? I think about the manila envelope appearing at Brianna's apartment with no return address. The anonymous sender who thought I deserved to know the truth. The convenient timing of everything. A horrible possibility starts forming in my mind. I grab my laptop and start researching. How hard would it be to fake photos like these? Turns out, not very hard at all. There are apps that can change timestamps, services that provide lookalike actors, photo editing software that can composite images seamlessly. The more I research, the more possible it becomes that someone could have orchestrated this entire thing. But the photos aren't the only evidence. There are also the hotel receipts with Adam's signature. I dig through the envelope until I find them. The signature looks right, but something nags at me. I pull out our joint credit card statements from the past 6 months and compare the signatures on legitimate charges. The hotel receipt signatures are close, but not perfect. The A in Adam is slightly different. The loop in the M is too small. Someone practiced his signature but didn't quite nail it. My hands are shaking as I realize what this means. Someone went to elaborate lengths to frame my husband for an affair he never had. Someone hired a lookalike, forged receipts, and carefully staged photos. Someone who knew our schedules well enough to avoid times when I'd have alibis for Adam. Someone who had access to examples of his signature. Someone who knew exactly how to manipulate me into believing the worst. I think about Brianna's reaction yesterday. Her desperation for me to confront Adam immediately. Her anger when I wanted to take time to think. Her strange comment about how some people would do anything to have what I was throwing away. What if Brianna didn't just bring me this evidence? What if she created it? The thought makes me nauseous, but I force myself to keep thinking logically. Brianna has a master's degree in psychology. She'd know exactly how to manipulate someone's emotions and reactions. She's been to our house hundreds of times. She could have gotten samples of Adam's handwriting from birthday cards, grocery lists, anything. She knows our schedules because we tell her everything. She knew I'd be devastated by evidence of an affair because she's the one I confided in about my parents' divorce and how infidelity was my biggest fear. But why would she do this? I remember her comment. Some of us would do anything to have what you're throwing away. What if Brianna isn't just my best friend? What if she's been in love with Adam this whole time? I think back through 15 years of friendship, looking for signs I missed. The way she lit up when Adam was around, how she never dated anyone seriously after college, the fact that she texts with Adam a few times a month about things that don't involve me, her obsessive involvement in our wedding planning, her insistence on Sunday dinners, the way she always remembered his favorite foods and brought them to our house. How did I miss this? I need more proof before I can believe my best friend is capable of something this elaborate and cruel. I start going through my phone, looking for clues I might have overlooked. In my text history with Brianna, I noticed something odd. 3 weeks ago, she texted me asking what time Adam would be home from work. When I said around 6:30, she suggested we meet for drinks at 7 South. But looking at the photos now, there's one time stamped at 6:45 p.m. from that exact day, showing Adam entering the hotel. If Brianna knew he'd be home at 6:30, why would there be a photo of him at a hotel 15 minutes later? Unless she knew exactly when to have her fake Adam photographed, because she'd just confirmed his real schedule with me. I keep digging through our text conversations, and more patterns emerge. Every time she asked about Adam's schedule in the weeks leading up to receiving the photos, there's a corresponding image time-stamped during those exact windows. She used our conversations to build her timeline of fake evidence. My phone rings, and Brianna's name appears on the screen. I stare at it for 3 rings before declining the call. She calls back immediately. This time I answer, trying to keep my voice normal. Hey, hi, I wanted to apologize again for yesterday. I was completely out of line. It's okay. No, it's not. I let my emotions get the better of me. I just hate seeing you hurt, and I wanted to help you get some closure. The word closure sticks out. Why would she assume I need closure unless she already knows how this story ends? I've been thinking about what you said, I tell her carefully. About confronting Adam. Really? Her voice brightens immediately. I think that's smart. The sooner you rip the band-aid off, the sooner you can start healing. I want to look at the evidence one more time before I do it. Can you bring the photos over? There's a pause. You have the photos. I gave you copies of everything. I know, but I want to compare them with the originals. Sometimes details get lost in copies. Another pause, longer this time. I don't have the originals, remember? They were sent to me anonymously. Those copies are all I have. The lie is so smooth I almost believe it. But I remember her saying she'd made copies, which would imply she had originals to copy from. Right, I forgot. Well, can you come over anyway? I want to practice what I'm going to say to him. Of course, I'll be there in an hour. After we hang up, I quickly hide all my research and put the photos back in their envelope. If Brianna created this evidence, I need to be very careful about how I handle the confrontation. An hour later, she arrives with coffee and pastries, back to her normal supportive friend persona. How are you feeling about talking to Adam? She asks. settling onto my couch, nervous, but ready. I pull out the envelope and spread a few photos on the coffee table. I keep looking at these and getting angry all over again. Brianna leans forward to study them, and I watch her face carefully. I know, the betrayal is so complete. He didn't just cheat, he lied about it repeatedly. The timestamps help make it feel real, I say casually, like seeing the exact moment he chose her over me. Absolutely. Details like that make it impossible for him to deny. This one particularly gets to me. I point to the March 15th photo, 3:22 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was probably at home missing him while he was with her. Brianna nods sympathetically, but something flickers across her face. That's the worst part. All those times you were being a faithful wife while he was betraying you. But I wasn't at home that Tuesday. I was with Adam at my dentist appointment. If Brianna had really received these photos from an anonymous source, she wouldn't know what I was doing that afternoon. Unless she was the one who chose that timestamp specifically because she thought I'd be at home. I think I'll confront him tonight, I say, when he gets home from work. Tonight? Brianna sits up straighter. That's really soon. Are you sure you're ready? Interesting. Yesterday she was desperate for me to confront him immediately. Today she seems nervous about it. You're right that I need to rip the band-aid off, and I don't want to lose my nerve. Maybe we should plan it out more carefully. Think about exactly what you want to say, how you want to handle his denials. I think I'll just show him the photos and see what he says. Brianna's hands fidget with her coffee cup. What if he claims they're fake? Cheaters always try to make their victims question reality. The irony of that statement is almost too much to handle. Why would anyone fake photos of an affair? I don't know, but manipulative people will say anything to avoid consequences. We sit in silence for a moment, and I can practically see the wheels turning in her head. She's trying to figure out how to control this situation, how to ensure the confrontation goes the way she wants it to. Maybe I should be here when you talk to him, she suggests, for moral support and to keep him from gaslighting you. You want to be here for my marriage confrontation? I just think you'll need backup. Adam can be very persuasive when he wants to be. The possessiveness in her tone is unmistakable now. She doesn't want to support me through a difficult conversation. She wants to orchestrate my husband's downfall. I think this is something I need to handle alone. Brianna's mask slips slightly. Mel, you're not thinking clearly. You're too emotional to handle someone as manipulative as Adam by yourself. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in days. No, you're not. You're in denial. You're looking for excuses to avoid the truth about your marriage. The accusation hits exactly where she intended it to. But instead of making me doubt myself, it confirms everything I've figured out. Brianna knows exactly which emotional buttons to push because she's been pushing them for years. She's studied me, manipulated me, and crafted this entire scenario to destroy my marriage and steal my husband. You're right, I say, forcing my voice to stay calm. I am looking for excuses because some part of me still loves him. That's why you need to confront him tonight, before that love makes you weak, before that love makes me forgive him for something he never did. I look at my best friend of 15 years and finally see her clearly. The jealousy, the obsession, the elaborate deception. She's been in love with my husband probably since the day we started dating, and she's finally decided to do something about it. You're right, I tell her. I'll confront him tonight. Brianna smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Good, you're doing the right thing. As soon as she leaves, I call Adam at work. Hey babe, what's up? Can you come home early today? I need to talk to you about something important. Is everything okay? You sound upset. Just come home, please. I'll leave right now. I have maybe an hour before Adam gets here, an hour to figure out how to tell my husband that my best friend has been trying to destroy our marriage, an hour to prepare for the confrontation that will end my 15-year friendship and hopefully save my 6-year marriage. The real betrayal wasn't Adam cheating on me. It was Brianna pretending to be my friend while systematically trying to steal my life. Adam arrives 30 minutes later, bursting through the front door with concern written all over his face. What's wrong? You sounded panicked on the phone. I'm sitting at the kitchen table with all my evidence spread out. The fake photos, the forged receipts, printouts of his emails with Brianna, my timeline documenting everything. He stops dead when he sees it all. Mel, what is this? Sit down, please. He pulls out a chair across from me, his eyes scanning the papers. When he sees the photos, his face goes white. Where did you get these? Brianna brought them to me 3 days ago. Said someone sent them to her anonymously. I watch his reaction carefully. She convinced me you were having an affair. Adam picks up one of the photos, studying it with a confused expression. This isn't me. I know that now, but it looks enough like you that I believed it for 3 days. Look at the timestamp on that one. He looks at the date and timestamp, then pulls out his phone to check his calendar. This says I was at a hotel at 3:22 p.m. on March 15th, but that's when I drove you to your dentist appointment. Exactly. Every single photo shows you somewhere when I can prove you were somewhere else. Someone hired an actor who looks like you and staged all of this. Adam's hands are shaking as he flips through more photos. Who would do something like this? I slide the printed emails across the table. Read these. He recognizes his own email thread immediately. As he reads, his expression shifts from confusion to recognition to something close to fear. You found these in my email? I was looking for proof of your affair. Instead, I found proof that Brianna has been sexually harassing you for months. Mel, I was going to tell you. When? After she succeeded in destroying our marriage? Adam runs his hands through his hair, a gesture I recognize as his stress response. I kept thinking I could handle it, that if I just kept shutting her down, she'd eventually give up. She escalated to showing up at your office. Security had to escort her out. I begged security not to file an incident report. I was embarrassed and didn't want HR involved. I thought keeping it quiet would make it go away. That was the final straw. I was planning to tell you everything that night, but then he gestures at the photos. This happened instead. I slide my timeline across the table. Look at this. Every time she asked me about your schedule, there's a corresponding fake photo. She used our conversations to map when you'd be available for alibis. Adam studies the timeline, and I watch the full scope of Brianna's manipulation dawn on him. She's been planning this for weeks, months, maybe years. I show him my sister's text about Brianna's behavior in college. She's been obsessed with you since we started dating. I had no idea it went back that far. Neither did I. I thought she was just being a good friend. All those Sunday dinners, all those times she remembered your favorite foods. All those texts between you two that I thought were innocent. My voice cracks slightly. She made me doubt my own marriage while pretending to support me through the crisis she created. Adam reaches across the table and takes my hands. I'm so sorry. I should have told you the second she started making advances. Why didn't you? Because I knew it would hurt you. You love her. She's been your best friend since college. I didn't want to be the reason you lost that relationship. So instead, you were going to let her destroy our marriage? No. I was going to tell you everything. I just wanted to give her one more chance to back off on her own. I pull my hands away. She wasn't going to back off, Adam. She was escalating. This whole elaborate scheme proves that. I know that now. Do you? Because part of me wonders if you liked the attention. The accusation hangs in the air between us. Adam's face goes through several expressions before settling on hurt. How can you say that? Because you let it go on for months. You had dozens of opportunities to tell me what was happening, and you chose to handle it yourself instead. I was trying to protect you. You were trying to protect yourself. If you'd told me about her behavior from the beginning, we could have dealt with it together. Instead, you made unilateral decisions about our relationship and left me vulnerable to her manipulation. Adam is quiet for a long moment. You're right. I was protecting myself. I was embarrassed that I couldn't make her stop, and I was scared you'd blame me for encouraging her somehow. Did you encourage her? No, but I was friendly with her because she was your best friend. I included her in conversations, invited her to things, treated her like family. Maybe that sent mixed signals. Being kind to your wife's best friend isn't sending mixed signals. Brianna chose to interpret your friendliness as romantic interest because that's what she wanted to see. My phone buzzes with a text from Brianna. How did the confrontation go? Do you need me to come over? I show Adam the message. She's expecting me to have confronted you about the fake affair by now. What are you going to tell her? The truth, that I know everything. Before I can stop him, Adam grabs my phone and types back. Come over now. We need to talk. What are you doing? Ending this. I'm tired of her manipulating both of us. 20 minutes later, Brianna knocks on our front door. I answer it while Adam waits in the kitchen. How are you holding up? She asks, stepping inside. I know confronting him must have been. She stops mid-sentence when she sees Adam sitting at the kitchen table with all the evidence spread out in front of him. What's going on? We know, I say simply. Brianna's mask doesn't slip immediately. Know what? That you created all of this. I point to the photos. That you hired someone to pose as Adam. That you forged hotel receipts. That you've been sexually harassing my husband for months. That's ridiculous. But her voice lacks conviction. Adam stands up and pulls out one of his printed emails. Would you like me to read your message about what I'm missing out loud? The color drains from Brianna's face. You went through his email? I was looking for evidence of his affair. Instead, I found evidence of your obsession. Brianna looks back and forth between us, clearly calculating her next move. Even if I did have feelings for Adam, that doesn't mean I created fake evidence. The hotel called. I lie smoothly. Room 412 has been under renovation for 3 months. Nobody could have stayed there. That's when her mask finally slips completely. The supportive friend disappears, replaced by something desperate and ugly. You have no idea what you're throwing away, she says, her voice rising. Adam doesn't love you the way I love him. I see him. I understand him. You just take him for granted. I take him for granted? The accusation is so absurd, I almost laugh. You tried to destroy my marriage because you couldn't handle rejection. He would have realized eventually that we're better suited for each other. You're too selfish to see what he needs. Adam steps forward. What I need is for you to leave my wife alone. Your wife? Brianna's laugh is bitter. She was ready to divorce you 3 days ago based on photos she looked at for 5 minutes. That's not love, Adam. That's ownership. I believed those photos because they looked real and came from someone I trusted, I say. Someone who spent weeks manipulating me into the right emotional state to accept them as truth. I was trying to open your eyes to who he really is. He really is someone who's been faithful to me for 6 years while you stalked and harassed him. Brianna turns to Adam with desperate eyes. Tell her about the night you drove me home from the restaurant. Tell her what you said to me. Adam looks confused. What night? Last month, after my birthday dinner. You said I looked beautiful. I said you looked nice because you'd made an effort for your birthday. That's not a romantic declaration. You touched my arm when you said it. I probably touched your shoulder to get your attention. The same way I'd touch anyone. Watching her grasp at these tiny interactions, trying to construct a romance that never existed, is almost painful. She's rewritten every casual kindness as evidence of secret feelings. You don't understand, she tells me, her voice cracking. I've loved him since college. I've waited 15 years for him to see me. I've watched you take him for granted, watched you not appreciate what you have. So you decided to take him away from me. I decided to show you both the truth, that your marriage isn't as strong as you think it is. Our marriage is strong enough to survive your manipulation. Is it? Brianna's voice turns calculating again. Because 3 days ago, you were ready to call a lawyer. You believed every lie I told you about him. How is that trust? The barb hits its target. She's right that I believed her accusations quickly. Maybe too quickly. I trusted you, I say. I trusted my best friend of 15 years. That's not a flaw in my marriage. That's you exploiting our friendship. Your friendship? She laughs again. You've never been a real friend to me. You got everything handed to you. The perfect boyfriend, the perfect wedding, the perfect life. Well, I got nothing. You got my loyalty for 15 years. You got invitations to every important moment of my life. You got a friendship I valued more than almost anything else. I didn't want your friendship. I wanted your life. The raw honesty of that statement lands like a physical blow. For 15 years, she's been pretending to love me while hating everything I represented. Well, you can't have it, Adam says firmly. And if you ever contact either of us again, we're filing a restraining order. Brianna looks between us one more time, and I see the exact moment she realizes she's lost completely. The desperation in her eyes turns to pure rage. You deserve each other, she spits. Two selfish people who can't see past their own little bubble. But this isn't over. You think you've won, but you have no idea what I'm capable of. The threat sends a chill down my spine. Get out of my house. Gladly. Enjoy your shallow little marriage while it lasts. She slams the door behind her hard enough to rattle the windows. In the silence that follows, Adam and I stand in our kitchen surrounded by evidence of how close we came to losing everything. Are we going to be okay? I ask. I don't know, he says honestly, but I want to try. The next morning, I wake up to find Adam already at the kitchen table with his laptop and a cup of coffee. I've been researching restraining orders, he says without looking up. We need to document everything before we file. He's right, but the practical reality of legal protection feels surreal. 24 hours ago, I thought my biggest problem was an unfaithful husband. Now I'm preparing to legally protect myself from my former best friend. Do you think she'll actually try something? I think someone who spent months creating fake evidence to destroy our marriage is capable of anything. I pour myself coffee and sit across from him. I keep thinking about all the signs I missed. How did I not see this? Because you trusted someone you loved. That's not a character flaw, isn't it? I was ready to divorce you based on photos I looked at for 5 minutes. Adam closes his laptop and looks at me directly. We need to talk about that. The conversation I've been dreading. I know. I understand why you believed her. The photos looked real. They came from someone you trusted, and I'd been acting secretive about the harassment. From your perspective, an affair was the logical explanation, but I should have talked to you first. I should have given you a chance to explain before I started planning my exit strategy. Maybe. But I also should have told you what was happening from the beginning. We both made mistakes that left us vulnerable to her manipulation. The honesty is painful but necessary. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with work to do. On communication, on trust, on boundaries with other people. 3 days ago, I thought our marriage was perfect. Now I'm learning it had cracks that Brianna was able to exploit. The realization is humbling and terrifying. Are you willing to do that work? I ask. Are you? Yes, but I need to know you won't hide things from me anymore, even if you think you're protecting me. I promise, no more secrets. We spend the morning compiling evidence for the restraining order. Police reports, printed emails, photos of the fake evidence, timestamps showing Brianna's manipulation timeline. By noon, we have a comprehensive file documenting months of escalating harassment. The police officer who takes our report is sympathetic but realistic about our options. Stalking and harassment cases are notoriously difficult to prosecute, she explains, but creating fake evidence to destroy a marriage could fall under criminal impersonation or fraud. We'll investigate. What about the restraining order? With this much documentation, you should be able to get a temporary order today. Permanent protection will depend on what she does next. That afternoon, we file the paperwork. The legal language makes it official. Brianna is now legally prohibited from contacting either of us or coming within 500 feet of our home or workplaces. I should feel relieved, but instead I feel hollow. 15 years of friendship reduced to legal documents and criminal complaints. My phone has been buzzing all day with missed calls and increasingly unhinged voicemails from Brianna. The last one, left at 3 a.m., is particularly disturbing. You think you've won, but you have no idea what you've lost. Adam will never love you the way I love him. This isn't over. I'll make sure you both regret this. We forward the voicemail to the police as additional evidence. That evening, my sister calls from Seattle. I saw your Facebook status about ending a toxic friendship. Everything okay? I'd posted something vague about learning to recognize manipulation, not wanting to air the full drama publicly, but needing to acknowledge that something major had happened. It's a long story. Brianna turned out to be someone I didn't know at all. I'm sorry, that must be devastating. It is, but it's also clarifying. I keep thinking about all the times she made subtle digs about my relationship or my choices, but I dismissed them because she was my best friend. Toxic people are really good at hiding their toxicity from the people they need something from. What's scary is how close she came to succeeding. If I hadn't noticed those timestamp discrepancies, but you did notice. You trusted your instincts when something felt wrong. The conversation helps me realize that while I made mistakes, I also ultimately chose truth over manipulation. I chose my marriage over Brianna's version of reality. 2 weeks later, Brianna violates the restraining order by showing up at my work. Security calls the police and she's arrested for the first time. As she's led away in handcuffs, she screams at me across the parking lot. You'll never be enough for him. He'll realize eventually that I was right about everything. Even in defeat, she's still trying to plant seeds of doubt about my marriage. The PI I hired comes back with a report. The lookalike was booked through a gig agency, paid in cash under a fake name. He signs an affidavit we include with our file. The arrest leads to more serious charges. The police investigation uncovers the company she hired to provide the Adam lookalike, the printing service she used for the fake receipts, and evidence that she'd been planning this scheme for months. She's eventually charged with stalking, harassment, fraud, and criminal impersonation. The legal process takes months, but it gives us time to rebuild without her constant interference. Adam and I start couples therapy. It's harder than I expected to work through the trust issues her manipulation exposed. We spend sessions talking about communication patterns, boundary setting, and how to recognize when someone is trying to exploit our relationship. The goal isn't to become paranoid about everyone, our therapist explains. It's to develop better instincts about when something feels off and stronger skills for addressing problems together. 6 months later, we're in a different place. Not the same place we were before Brianna's scheme, but somewhere healthier. We check in with each other more frequently. We're more direct about concerns. We don't assume the other person can read our minds or that protecting each other means hiding information. I've also learned to trust my own instincts again. The part of me that noticed the timestamp discrepancies, that felt something was wrong about Brianna's pressure tactics, that chose investigation over blind faith, that part of me is stronger now. Brianna was sentenced to 2 years of probation and mandatory psychological counseling. She's required to have no contact with either of us and to stay away from our neighborhood. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she moved to another state, which feels like the safest outcome for everyone. Sometimes I wonder if I could have handled things differently. If I'd been a better friend, would she have been honest about her feelings instead of resorting to elaborate deception? If I'd been more observant, would I have noticed her obsession earlier? But I've learned to reject that kind of thinking. I wasn't responsible for managing Brianna's emotions or preventing her from making destructive choices. My responsibility was to my own life and my own relationships, and I ultimately protected both. The experience taught me the difference between loyalty and enabling. For years, I'd excused Brianna's subtle negativity and possessive behavior because I valued our history and didn't didn't want to rock the boat. I mistook tolerance for friendship and conflict avoidance for kindness. Now I understand that real friendship requires honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. Real love means protecting the relationship, not protecting someone from the consequences of their actions. Adam and I are planning our first vacation since everything happened. Just the two of us, no friends invited, no group dynamics to navigate. The simplicity of it feels revolutionary after years of three-way friendships and complex social obligations. Do you miss her? He asks one evening as we're looking at travel websites. I miss who I thought she was. I miss having a best friend, but I don't miss the actual relationship we had because most of it was built on lies. Do you think you'll ever trust a close friend like that again? I hope so, but differently, with better boundaries and clearer communication. The hardest part isn't the loss of Brianna specifically, it's the loss of innocence about friendship and trust. I'll never again assume that someone's presence in my life automatically means they want the best for me. I'll never again mistake emotional manipulation for support or jealousy for concern. But I've gained something too. The knowledge that my marriage can survive serious challenges, that my instincts are worth trusting, and that I'm capable of protecting myself when necessary. Looking back now, I see Brianna's scheme as a twisted gift. It forced Adam and me to examine our relationship honestly and build something stronger. It taught me to value directness over diplomacy and truth over comfort. Most importantly, it showed me that I'd rather face an uncomfortable reality than live in a beautiful lie.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your favorite part in the comments. See you in the next one.